Welcome to the Educational Leadership Podcast, the podcast where education meets innovation and leaders like you transform schools into thriving communities. Join us as we guide you through the ever-evolving world of educational leadership, from strategies that inspire your staff to insights that shape your students' futures. We're here to sharpen your skills, amplify your talents, and ignite your impact. So grab your coffee, a notebook, and most importantly, your growth mindset as we embark on a journey to redefine what it means to lead with purpose and passion. This isn't just a podcast, it's professional development. Let's build better schools together, one episode at a time. Now, here's your host, Principal JL. Let me ask you something. What do you do when you spent 3 years building something and you suddenly realize you're not sure what comes next? That was me this summer, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with questions, not about where we've been, but where we're going. We've tackled culture, we've reimagined systems, we've improved attendance, but now it's time to ask, what's the next mountain to climb? Today I want to take you behind the curtains. This episode isn't about programs or policy. It's about reflection, renewal, and powerful mindset shift that's guided everything I do this year. Be curious. Ted Lasso said it, but it's deeper than a quote. It's a challenge, a call to lead with empathy and grow with purpose. So let's talk about it. What we've built, where we're going, and how curiosity just might be the key to unlocking our next chapter. Now let's get to the episode. Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of the Educational Leadership Podcast. I am so excited. If you watch my videos on YouTube or on TikTok, Instagram, any of those platforms, you'll be seeing behind me my brand new neon sign, Educational Leadership with Principal JL. It's sweet. My family got it for me for my birthday, so my daughters and my wife all got together and got me this sweet sign. And then just this past weekend, I actually painted and redid the studio area that I record in so I could have this sign ready to go. I'm super excited to kind of show off this sign today in this episode. If you're listening on the podcast, you can't see it, so watch out. So for some videos coming up, you'll get to see it in those video clips that I create when I do my episodes. Well, in today's episode, I'm going solo today. I have some things I've been really kind of just thinking about. This summer's been really a great summer for me, but at the same time, if I'm being completely honest, I kind of hit a wall. I'm kind of like going, man, what's next for us? I needed to be ready for the 25-26 school years as the building principal. What do I need to get my staff ready for? So there's a lot of things going on. I got some time to, get away for a while, be with my family, do some camping, boating, doing some fun stuff like that. I also got to go to the National Principal Conference and got to meet up with some people that have been on this show, like Dr. Cynthia Rapedo. We have Dr. Ed Oekit. I got to meet, Dr. San Filippo. I'm going to leave some people, Principal Mo. I got to meet all of them in person, as well as getting to meet like Principal Kafele, Principal L, meeting some really great people and really having to do some really cool just learning through the conference and those things like that. So if you've never gone to National Principal Conference, I would encourage you to do that as well as doing the state conference as well. Also, Bill Curry, he's the Nebraska Middle School Principal of the Year. He was out at the national conference. I also got to run into him at the state conference here in Nebraska. Got to meet up and talk with him. Him and I had some fun while we were up in Seattle. So it was a great time to just network and get to see those people. And I would just strongly encourage people to network and do those things if you get a chance. As well, with the state conference, I got to meet and got to see a bunch of people in the state, Some of you guys listen to the podcast. I really appreciate those of you that have said, hey, keep going. We really like what you're doing. That means a lot to me coming from the people that I network with and things like that. But I also have some really great guests coming up on the podcast. I got Principal Erin Jones. She is actually a Region 4 president. I'm going to have her on the show coming up. I'm going to have Bill Curry, the middle school principal of the year in Nebraska. He's going to be on the show. Jerry Mack, he's the high school principal of the year from the state of Nebraska, and I'm going to have him on the show, as well as Jamay. Jamay is also a principal of the year out of Iowa, and I'm going to have her on the show. So I'm excited to bring her on, as well as Dr. Donovan Small II is also scheduled to be on the show. So I have a lot of great guests that I'm going to have coming up here over the next months, and I have some more, I guess, on the works. I'm not going to really say who they are until they actually get scheduled in. But like I said, I got some really great things going on with the podcast. I'm really excited. But without further ado, I really want to dive in to some things I was thinking about. Like I said, this summer, I hit a wall. I was lost and trying to figure out what to do. And to be honest, these last 3 years as being the building principal of the school that I'm at right now, we really focused on culture. We really focused on being a team, working together, collaborating, creating a welcoming environment for our kids, for our staff, for our community. Because when I got here, there's a lot of negativity surrounding the school, and we really wanted to change that narrative. Something that I learned from Dr. Joe Sanfilippo is you want to control that narrative. You want to be the one saying all the great things that are happening. Find the joy in your job. Those things like that really resonated with me as a young principal, and something that I really thought about a lot this summer when I was thinking about what's our next step? Which way are we going to go? In order for us to really move forward, I have to think about what we have done over the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, we really focus on creating that warm, welcoming environment. One of the things we did, we used our PBIS team in this situation to where we wanted to have people understand, like, hey, we want to greet kids in the hallway. We want to say, hey, we're glad you're here. When somebody is not there and they've been gone for, instead of saying, like, where you been and give them the business and 99 questions and trying to figure out and having that, that type of rapport, it's more like, hey, we're glad you're here. Hey, you know, I missed you. I'm really glad you're here. If there's anything I could do to help you get caught up, I'm here to help you. Things like that. Like that just changes the flow, or just the energy that you give those kids when they are gone. Because when I got here, kids didn't want to come to school. They were just like, no, man, I want to be there. And we have kids just wandering the hallways. It felt like just a crazy atmosphere. Really, we talk about welcome to the jungle at our school, and really, it felt like a jungle in that first year with everything that's going on. I listened to the staff. I got my school improvement team involved, and we really started working in that first year. How do we change the things? What are the things that are holding us back? And what do we need to do to make those changes? Not just talk about them, but actually create real change, have systematic approaches and things like that. So that first year, we're talking about welcoming the kids, welcoming the staff. And I had to model. I had to go out and go, you know what? If I'm asking my teachers these things to do these things, I'm going to do them too. And so I really wanted to greet kids and get to know them, get to know my staff, do my interviews. I talked about that in my other episodes, how I went around and purposely, intentionally got to know my staff by name and things I like. Those were really important steps I had to take in that first year, but it really was the collective effort of our school improvement team. We already have a leadership team that was really great because it's our leadership within our building that we look to try to help kids. That's where we run our MTSS process through and everything like that. The school improvement team is that team of teachers where we get people from each department be able to go back and go, hey, here's some things we talked about. Here's some things we need to do. Here's some things we're thinking about. Get that input, bring it back to the group, and really just have dialogue and talk about what are next steps, how are we going to make those changes. So really in that first year, that school improvement team tackled these issues. We had to tackle what are we going to do about these personal electronic devices. That's where we looked at a new updating the policy we have on hand. The other thing is there's kids everywhere. Felt like we were chasing kids, trying to get them back in class. We're going here, we're going there. So how do we get those kids to class, be where they need to be? That was another issue that we tackled as well. And so these are the things that they came up with. Hey, we're going to create a electronic device, a personal electronic device policy to where, you can't access these things during the class time. Yeah, you can have it between periods. You can have it at lunch, before and after school. But if class time to instructional time, we're going to hold tight on that. And we're able to roll that out. The other thing is we created the e-hall pass system. We didn't create it. We just got an e-hall passes because we're still on paper passes, right? That's ridiculous to keep doing that with 1,000 kids and, the staff we have doing the electronic passes were something that we really were interested in. We were able to do that as well. And the teachers asked for this hall monitor stuff. They used to have it a long time ago, but they wanted to bring it back. And I was like, "You sure this is going to add an extra duty?" And we talked about it, and they said yes. And they were really dedicated to making this better. Well, we implemented all those things in year two, and I would tell you, man, it really cleaned up the hallways. Kids were in class. I had students saying, "Hey, I'm paying attention more in school because I'm not on my phone. I'm not on my electronic personal device because I know I'm not supposed to be." At the same time, we're one to ones with computers. So there's really no reason why they need to be on them. But at the same time, there's accountability. Everybody was on the same page. And the best part about that is the teachers were the ones that rolled this out. And that was the best part about it is being the collaborative team mindset and be able to do these things together. And so we had about a 95% approval rating after the second year with all these things. And like I said, the hallways got cleared, kids were in class. It seemed like, yeah, man, we're doing really, really good. But we still had this underlying problem was chronic absenteeism was a
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. Now let's get back to the episode.
Huge deal, and it's not just huge deal in our school, but it's huge deal across the nation. And so that's when in year two the school improvement team took what my assistant principal and my former superintendent came back and said, "Hey, we saw this at admin days, let's look at it." We looked at it, and we just basically thank you Norris High for the attendance policy, because we took their attendance policy and we created it for Hastings High School and make it work for us. And how do we do that? And we have a holistic approach to attendance. We have an MTSS system that we rolled out in year three from the work in year two to roll out to create systems for attendance. We were able to help kids right away. We were, hey, you're missing a day. Boom. Our attendance coordinator was right there asking those kids really, what can we do to help you make sure you're at school? Because we're really, really got tight on our attendance, and we really wanted to help kids. And so we wanted to help kids, we want to help their family. We have it to where, we have 3 layers of supports, and you can check this out. I have a whole episode on how we battled our chronic absenteeism and how that whole system worked. You can check that out. I will have to put that episode in the show notes because I'm not remembering off the top of my head right now. But I'll put that episode in the show notes. It really talks about that chronic absenteeism and how we battled that through our systematic approach. But that was year two year three we implemented from year two, school improvement team. And this last year was kind of like, man, what do we do next? And so we talked about a lot of things. Well, one thing we kept going back to this third year as a school improvement team is trying to get our freshmen off to a great start, right? And so getting our freshmen off to a great start, I'll be honest with you, the last 3 years, our freshmen are coming in, they're looking around, they're like going, holy crap, this is a lot to take in. There's a lot of things going on. I'm not understanding this block schedule very well. It's a modified block, so that's added more confusion to them. But at the same time, our middle school kids are in a team concept middle school. And if you don't know what that is, that basically means you have a wing of sixth graders, a wing of seventh graders, and a wing of eighth graders. And they stay on those wings. They have team A and team B, right? And they stay on those teams throughout their middle school year. There's not a lot of intermixing. There's a little bit, but not a lot. You come to the high school, you have 4 grade levels of craziness, it seems like, for these guys coming in. So we really weren't giving our freshmen a great start to the year. And so what we did as a school improvement team is we really said, you know what? We are going to take a day off from our service days. So we have 4 pre-service days. I'm taking 4 days and crunching into 3 for what we need to do, and we're taking that 4th day and we're bringing it's a mandatory day for freshmen. They have to come. It's attendance taken. Those freshmen are coming into school by themselves, and so we're going to be able to do things like, hey, we're going to run them through their schedule. We're going to feed them lunch. We're going to have some fun activities. I'm going to do a presentation. The activities director is going to do a little presentation. She's going to talk about some stuff. I'm going to have them go through their schedule. So we have a black day and an orange day. We're going to feed them lunch. I'm going to get them ice cream. And then at the end of the day, we're going to have an activities fair. And it's not going to be like a full day. It's going to be our Wednesday schedule. So they're done by 2:45. But the whole goal of that is to have the freshmen come in, get acclimated, get to know their teachers before we bring everybody in. And it's just, a crazy zoo, it seems like at times at the beginning of the year, where hopefully that will be a great success. I believe it will be because it was a collaborative effort by our school improvement team. And I'm excited about it because, we've been planning for it and we got the things there ready to go. It's just to execute the plan and really do the things we need to do on those ends. Here's some things that we had. We had some mantras over the last 3 years. We talked about, hey, how do you be 1% better every day, making incremental changes to get better so you can, make those big gains throughout the year. We also had the expectations are the expectations mantra, to where, hey, you know what? These are the expectations. We're going to hold you to a high expectation because we believe in you. We know you can do it. So we're going to hold you to a high expectation when it comes to your personal cell phone device, when it comes to your attendance, when it comes to your ability to learn. We want you to learn and be the best you can be. But at the same time, we're holding ourselves accountable as well because we're creating these systems to help us have a systematic approach to these issues we're having. And I'm going to say this, after 1 year of putting in that attendance policy, we increased daily average attendance by 3.97%. So about 40 kids a day were attending school more regularly. We dropped our chronic absenteeism by 1 year. Now, this is from our 2023-2024 versus our 24-25 school year results. So at the end of this last year, we decreased chronic absenteeism by 8.9%, which is about 89 less students that were chronically absent. Now, we got a long ways to go. We're not where we want to be with it, but we're in a great start. So I'm really excited to see the work that we have done over the last 3 years carry over. That's what I'm excited to see. That stuff just keeps going. It's not like we're going to stop worrying about culture. We're going to stop worrying about the things we're doing. We're going to continue those things. A, we know they work. B, it's a collaborative effort. And we have things in place to hold ourselves and to hold our kids and hold everybody accountable so we can make the gains and the strides we want and make Hastings High the best high school in the state of Nebraska and, in my opinion, in the nation. That's the goal, right? That's what we want to do. And that's what our goal is to make it the best place possible. That's the work we've done over the last 3 years. Now, that's where I started going, what's next? What now? What's my next step as a building principal? And I was lost. I was like going, holy smokes. We've done all these things. We've done the, building the culture, environment. And what's our next step? Well, we have some things happening at Hastings that, for us, there's going to be a lot of change this year, right? We're going to be having a brand new superintendent, a brand new curriculum director, a brand new special education director, and we're a brand new operations manager. Now, the operations manager is not new to the district, they're just new to the role. So we got like 4 district office positions that are going to be new. And so there's going to be a lot of change.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey there, amazing educational leaders. If you're finding value in this podcast, learning new insights, getting inspired, or just nodding along thinking, yep, I needed that, then why keep it to yourself? Share this podcast with a colleague, a fellow school leader, or a teacher that is inspiring into leadership. Send them a link, post about it, or just casually drop, hey, you need this in your life the next time you see them. Let's grow this community of game-changing educators together, because great leadership isn't a solo act, it's a movement. Now, back to the show. And that made me go, you know what? This year, we have to be curious. And be curious is the thing that keeps sticking out in my mind. And so to kind of help you understand it, I'm getting this from Ted Lasso, the dart scene, right? Be curious. And to help you guys kind of understand where I'm going to go with this, I really want to play the scene, the dart scene. It's about a minute long, to where Ted Lasso is talking about being curious and not judgmental. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you, and then I'll talk about it at the end.
What do I need to win?
2 triple 20s and a bullseye.
Good luck. You know, Rupert, guys have underestimated me my entire life. And for years, I never understood why. It used to really bother me. But then one day, I was driving my little boy to school, and I saw this quote by Walt Whitman. It was painted on the wall there. It said, "Be curious, not judgmental." I like that. So I get back in my car, and I'm driving to work, and all of a sudden, it hits me. All them fellas that used to belittle me, not a single one of them were curious. You know, they thought they had everything all figured out, and so they judged everything, and they judged everyone. And I realized that they're underestimating me. Who I was had nothing to do with it. Because if they were curious, they would ask questions. You know? Questions like, have you played a lot of darts, Ted? Which I would have answered, yes, sir. Every Sunday afternoon at a sports bar with my father from age 10 until I was 16 when he passed away. Barbecue sauce.
Wow. Like, think about that. Really, really let that sink in. Be curious. What does that mean for us? Be curious. Like, he talked about, no one asked him questions. No one was curious about him as well. And so he learned that to be curious and not to judge things. But that's kind of what we need to do coming into this school year, is to be curious about the things that are going on around us. So what does this mean? This is what sticks with me about that scene, is to be curious this year. Let's think about it this way. You have a student that's struggling. We don't know why they're struggling, but be curious. Try to figure out what's going on with that student to try to help them. They could be not turning in their homework. They could be, sleeping in class. They could be not present in school. But instead of judging them, we need to think about being curious and figure it out. What's going on? What can I do to help them? From a building principal standpoint, let's just talk about, staff members. I get this sometimes, like, hey, the staff members over here is late. This one's taking off soon. I hear all these things. But my thing is, I'm not going to go judge that teacher. I'm going to go be curious and ask questions. What's going on? So I can help them. I want to support them. That's what that means, to be curious. Let's talk about, what if the district comes down and says, this is an initiative that you need to do. Well, instead of rolling my eyes and going, yeah, okay, whatever, that's not going to work, or being kind of like not really non-compliant, but just like kind of going, yeah, what are you thinking type stuff. I want to be curious. I want to ask questions. I want to understand the why behind everything. And so that's kind of what we're talking about this year coming in, is being curious. That's going to be the title of my welcome back presentation I'm going to do with my staff, is to be curious and understand that everybody is going through it at one point or time. We need to be curious. We need to give each other grace, but at the same time, we got to do what we got to do to be better. And one of those things that we're going to talk about this year is, how do we make growth instructionally? How do we become better instructional people in the building? So how am I as a teacher getting better instructional to give that student the best education possible? How am I as a principal going to be the best instructional leader for that teacher? Am I getting in the classroom? Am I having conversations? Am I doing these things that help my staff grow instructionally? And that's going to be something that we're going to really focus on this year, is instructional strategies, how to get better in the classroom. Because right now, we've done the work with everything the last 3 years. This is our next step. Our next step is to get better instructionally. We have some amazing teachers. We have some teachers that can learn from each other in our building. And so one of the things I would really like to do, and I'm working on it, I am talking to people and trying to figure this out, is how can I create a system for peer observation so my staff can go see other staff, teach, learn from them, take what they're learning and implement it back in their classroom. That is something I'm going to be asking teachers to pilot. How can we make this system? What is it going to look like for Hastings High to help teachers get better by utilizing the people we have in the building, and figure out how can we help these teachers get better instructionally, because that's our next step. We're also going to be looking at doing some things with curriculum alignment and with state standards. That's going to be across. I know I've worked on some of that stuff with my core staff, but this year it's going to be probably more like a holistic. Every SRT is going to be looking at their standards and looking for alignment. I know that's going to happen. There's more to come on that. I'm not going to really get into that too much, but I know we're going to continue doing the PLC work. We're just going to add a little thing to it to where we can make that a better, make sure that we have aligned standards within the curriculum that we teach. And so with that, that's where the instructional strategies, that's where being better instructionally and growing instructionally is going to be kind of where I see us going in this year 4 as a building principal. And I'm going to be honest with you, that didn't just happen. Like, I didn't just think of that out of the blue. It took me time to think about, this is where we've been, but this is where we need to go. These are the great things we have done, but you know what? We can get better at this one thing. This is where the whole getting better, 1% better at something. So we're going to get better collectively, instructional strategies in the classroom. And I'm going to get better as a principal on helping that as well. So I'm going to do as a principal is I'm going to spend at least one period. I'm going to try one period a day, right? We have block periods. So we're talking 85-minute periods. So one day it could be second period, one day it could be third period, one day it could be fourth period. I'm going to block out time in my schedule to get in the classrooms, to have conversations. And you know what? These aren't going to be like me doing a walkthrough and giving you a walkthrough every time. It's like going to be more of a conversation about, hey, I saw this. I really like this. Hey, tell me more about this. This is where the whole be curious comes into play for me. It's where I'm going to go and be curious in the classroom and ask teachers, have dialogue, because I want to help make them the best they can be. So when I have those formal observations, informal walkthroughs and stuff like that, I can help shape them before they get to those things. And so that's something I've really struggled doing over the last 3 years. But I think this year is the year I really got to buckle down and hold myself accountable and be curious in the classroom and ask my teachers that I evaluate the things they're doing and how can they get better. And that's kind of where I'm at as a principal and things I want to do. Now, there's going to be 4 questions I'm going to ask myself throughout the year that's going to help guide me as a principal this year. There's going to be 4 questions that I'm going to think about. First question I want to ask myself every day, does the staff at Hastings High School, do the teachers, staff, everybody that comes there, students, do they love coming to Hastings High? Do they love coming to work? Do they love coming to school? Because if they don't, we got to work on that. The next question I'm going to ask, would I send my own child to my school? Would I send my own child to Hastings High School? If my answer is no, there's something wrong there. I got to make sure Hastings High is good enough for my own child. Hastings High is good enough for my staff's children. It's good enough for people. That's where we got to collectively work together and get better instructionally. And then another thing is the third question, how can I be 1% better as a principal? How can I be 1% better today than I was yesterday? Hey, you know what? I might have slipped up and forgot to go do some observations that one day. You know what? I'm going to get back on track. There could be so many different things that I can get better every day at. And so that's going to be my third question is how do I get 1% better today? And then my fourth thing, I kind of alluded to it, is to be curious. Be curious about everything. I know we got a new superintendent. I know we got all these new district leaders. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to ask questions. I want to understand where they're coming from so I can help bring clarity to my staff. If I'm not bringing clarity to my staff, then I'm not doing my job. And so I want to be curious and ask the questions. I want to ask my teachers. I want to ask my students, be curious about things that come up. We're going to go through some hard stuff this year. It's just going to happen. But as long as we can work together, we could be curious and learn and grow together, we're going to have a great school year. There you guys have it. That's kind of what I've been thinking about throughout the summer. Those are things that kind of wrapped into a little bowl there. The direction Hastings High is going to go this year. I'm really excited about the upcoming school year thing coming down. We got less than a week, week and a half. We're going to have kids in. I'm going to bring in staff this coming up week. So it's going to be, a great time. I'm excited to get people back in the building and to get going. If you guys really enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you share it with other people because there might be other people out there thinking some of the same things I'm thinking. Share it out. I would love to hear from you. And it's more just to know that, hey, you're listening. The things that we're saying is relevant to you. It's something that you get something out of. I would love to hear some feedback from you about anything that the show offers you as well. With that said, I really appreciate you guys listening. I know people are out there listening. Keep watching TikTok and IG and, Threads, all the different social media that I put out there. I really appreciate the support you guys have. And I'm really excited about where this podcast is going and the future of the podcast. So, guys, I really appreciate everything. And I hope you guys are looking to be 1% better. Thank you for sticking around to the very end of this episode. I hope this podcast brings value to you as an educational leader. I would invite you to share this podcast with other educational leaders or maybe that inspiring teacher who would like to be an educational leader someday. I would also invite you to subscribe and to follow this podcast so you can get the most recent updated episodes when they drop. I would also love it if you leave a review and rate this podcast 5 stars because that would make this podcast more discoverable to other educators like yourself. You can also follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, Threads, and Substack. All you need to do is look for Principal J.O. and boom, there I am. This is where we can continue the conversations from the episodes that you have enjoyed. I am so thankful for you guys for listening. Until next time, always be 1% better.